Ron.
All right, okay, welcome everybody. We're on 9 December planning board meeting for the town of Poland. Welcome, we have a nice group in the audience tonight, so thank you for coming. We're going to go through the agenda. We do have a few board members that are absent tonight, so we will have the four of us that would make a quorum, so we are okay. Right, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the minutes for two past meetings. There was a change made to the one for October 14th that's been corrected, and so we'll vote on those, and then we have the minutes from November 25th. I see we have no communications or old business. Is that correct, Sarah? Thank you. And then we have two items under new business that are coming in for a formal shoreland zoning application. And then we also have a sketch plan application for 0 Bakerstown Road. And then we're going to discuss potential changes to the code. So I'm not sure what everybody's here for, but that's our agenda tonight. Then we'll do any other business and we'll adjourn. Okay? All right. So, should we do the first set of minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to look at October 14th amended? Any questions, comments, or discussion? Okay, can I get a motion then to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 14th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Have a second?
I'll second.
And vote, please. We good? Cheryl?
I can't vote.
Okay. You weren't there. I wasn't here. All right. Your hand up then. There we go. Okay, let's move on. We're going to go on to the 25th of November's meeting minutes. Does everyone have a chance to review those?
Yes. And I have one thing that I would like to just say that we probably should correct, because in the last page of it, we have that we approved a applicant and we put it formal shoreland zoning. It's actually it was a site plan, it wasn't shoreland. It was when it's on the last page,
Okay.
at the last paragraph.
Oh, yes, yes,
For sand and gravel.
yes.
Right. It's
We'd done 3 shorelands in a row, and I was just,
yeah, it was in there.
must be another shoreland.
So do we want to just?
I think we can just strike.
Can I strike and correct?
That's fine,
Go and
that's
initial
fine with
it.
me, I just,
Yep.
we should correct it though.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. Any other notes or questions about the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for.
Need a second?
November 25th.
Second.
Okay,
Yeah, all set.
all right, vote.
Vote.
Good. Okay, great. All right. Let's go to the first item on the agenda. We have the new business, the formal shoreland zoning application. Andrew Beja and Jules Prairie from 39 Storm Cove Lane. I think they have a representative here. You want to come up and sit here and you can present the application to us, please?
Sure.
The microphones are in this room, so you can.
Okay.
Screen.
Okay, so I'll just explain to you
Yep.
what's going on. So
Please
it's
take us through it.
there's an existing house on site, and basically they want to take that down and rebuild. But part of it is inside the 100-foot setback, so.
Slide you.
And we're moving it back a bit, but we can't go too far back. You can see on the site plan. There's some power lines there, there's some setbacks from that, there's a septic, so we're sort of shoehorning it in between that and the existing. So it's going back a bit, but not the full 100. Also no expansion inside the 100.
You also have a proposed single-story guest house on an existing pad, and there's a house there already?
There's a garage there already, yeah. It's a garage with a workshop and a pool room above it. And they're gonna take that down, reuse the foundation, and just build a little guest room on that.
I wasn't sure I saw a
But that, and that
floor
one's,
plan for the guest room. Was there not one?
there's not one, that one's fully, that's all behind the 100.
Right. What's the intention there? Is it a bunkhouse or a guest house?
Just a bunkhouse, no kitchen, no
And the existing house is going to be taken down and revegetated,
Correct. Yep.
okay? Questions from the board?
So you're gonna keep the existing septic tank that the house was attached to?
The existing tank stays, they're going to redo, the leach field is kind of dated, so they're gonna redo that, but in the same spot.
So is the tank underneath the deck, or is what's, I guess I'm misunderstanding what's happening, where the tank is?
Tank is, well, just for, actually, they're probably gonna replace that as well. So it's just behind the house there.
Right, but that's a deck, right?
Where is
Uh,
the current
on the
tank?
side.
Next to that, yeah. That, where the mouse is, yeah, that's the current.
It's under the current one's right underneath here.
There's a septic designer, he's gonna inspect both of those and see what the condition is.
So he's got a new septic design, or is that already here?
It's got it.
It's not in here yet, yeah, but that's the hope.
So where's the tank? It's under the proposed deck?
Yeah.
No, well, it can't be there. It's gonna have to be moved or
I
replaced.
think it's in front of, but,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if you flip this over, you can show where it is right now. Well, once again, doesn't show where it is. Do that. Shows you, and then by shifting that over and whatever, at least from what I'm seeing on the site plan, it seems
Oh,
like.
there it is.
It's
gonna have to
yeah,
be
you
8
can,
feet.
it's kinda light, but
It's gonna have to be
you can
8
see
feet
it on
from
this.
the deck anyway, so we'll have to move it or replace it.
Okay. So we can do that.
I guess I have a question too, Scott. When did the shoreline zoning stuff change? I didn't see any pictures of what's existing there, isn't that? I know Stuart's, all of his applications
Yeah.
have,
There has to be some photos.
there has to be
Yeah.
photos of currently what's there, correct?
Yeah.
So is everything on the, on the lot, permitted, that you can see, like even those granite steps?
So a lot of that, yeah, area that you see was after 89, so they were at their max for expansion.
Any concerns, Scott?
I didn't see anything else. Like I said, I was looking for that floodplain, but I couldn't find it on there, but
Yeah, it's on the
I see
big-
it now.
on the
It's
big
easier on
drawing.
the survey to see it.
Yeah.
Just curious, and I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know, but I noticed that the notary was stamped was in Tennessee. Is that recognized by the state of Maine? I don't know, on a deed? I don't know.
It was registered with registry of deeds, right?
It, well, it says county is not from Tennessee.
Right, they came from it. Usually you'll see when it was registered.
It says, that was,
Usually a timestamp on there somewhere.
yeah, this, September 2024. Yes. On the date on this.
It's at the top there.
I just thought it was.
That top is the stamp from the registry of deeds. Top right-hand corner.
On this one?
Yep.
Yep. Now that's September 2024.
That's when it was accepted by the registry of deeds, so
Registry of Deeds.
I would have to
The
assume.
Registry of Deeds in Maine,
Right.
because it didn't, I didn't see a Maine stamp, that's why I was just curious.
So when are they looking to start the project?
The spring,
Spring.
yeah. Probably, April and May, after road posting.
They're new owners, right?
Yes.
So it could be done till May 1st because we don't allow soil disturbance in the shoreline between March 1st and May 1st.
Any questions, concerns?
No, I'm just, I'm fine. So we'll get an updated plan, is that what we're looking at now, to show the other, where the septic's located, gonna be located, and
Yeah, I think we should have a condition that the septic plan and the photos.
of the existing?
I'm gonna go out to our attendees if nobody else has any questions.
Hmm.
Anyone here have any questions or comments on this item? Okay. Do you have any questions or comments for us?
I don't, well, regarding the photos, is that something I should email to you, Scott, or do you want paper copies?
You can email them.
Okay,
We just need to add them to the file.
all right.
Go through the checklist.
And then we'll have to get a signature block on the site plan so we can get that signed as well.
Okay. Signed by,
The board.
okay.
You have all the butters list?
And you will need a permit by rule from the DEP, so that might be something you want to start on so we can get a copy of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Adjacent property. Yeah. We are missing the blueprint for the bunkhouse.
I don't think we need to see that, do we?
Okay.
As long as,
It's outside the 100 feet, so we're not gonna, okay? But confirming it won't have a kitchen.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have all our stipulations, so you can add them to make a motion?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can accept that as the, are we doing
We're doing the checklist first.
Yeah.
just a checklist at this point, right?
Yep, and then we can do stipulations, yeah. Okay, so, I'll do a checklist. I have a motion to accept the checklist as complete.
Okay, I can do that. I'll make a motion that we accept the formal shoreline zone application for Andrew Reggie and Jules Perry, 39 Storm Cove Lane, map 20, lot 23 is complete.
May I have a second?
Yeah, and we're not accepting that, just this checklist is complete, right? Correct.
It is.
I'll second that.
Good, okay. And we need the stipulations, right?
Well, there'll be a couple of, are you okay with it, approving it with conditions?
yeah, we need the photos and the septic design.
Photos in the septic plan, okay. Do you want to see if there's any other people want to have comment on this before we approve it, or do you want to wait till after?
Sure, yeah.
You did that, you did that, okay.
Okay, yep.
I forgot which time you were talking to him about.
It's okay.
Okay, no, I'll do it. I'll make a motion that we approve the shoreline zoning application for Andrew Vinci and Will Perry, 39 Storm Cove Lane, map 20, lot 23, with the condition that we receive a full septic design from site evaluator, and that we get current photos of the existing property. And we're doing that without a site walk or a public hearing.
Second.
Discussion? Vote? Good. Moving along.
All right, thank you,
All
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
right, next up we have this site plan application, 0 Bakertown Road, Autumn Inc.
Bunch of different lots.
Yes. If I read that many numbers, I'll have a tongue twister, so.
Will it still be on camera or? Hi, good evening, I'm Rick Meek with Paradigm Consultants. I'm here with Brian Merrill, Autumn Inc. I'm gonna start with this existing conditions plan. You received a copy in your packet, but I've colored this just to kind of explain what's going on. So all the colored areas are what constitutes the subdivision for this, what's proposed for this subdivision. There are 3 different colors. The salmon is the meat of the property, and all the, by the way, all these shaded areas are owned by Autumn Inc., with the exception of this green parcel. But the green parcel was divided recently, which constituted the first subdivision of this, or division of this property. So any further division of this property brings it into subdivision, which we're doing with this application. The yellow portion is property owned by Autumn Inc. that was part of the Wildwood subdivision. And since we're developing that piece, we're going to be amending Wildwood subdivisions, thus we're calling this Wildwood Phase 2. We provided a traditional layout in your packet. We're not really going to talk about it because we're not proposing this. We're proposing a cluster subdivision. If you want to talk about it, we can. Again, the same plan that you received in your packet, added some color just to kind of define what we're doing. All the green areas are open space. It's about 71 acres of open space. And you can see the road network that we're providing. And we're doing 35 residential lots. They're numbered 14 through 46 because the first phase of Wildwood had 13 lots, so we're starting with 14. We'll be talking about a collector road. And I think the ordinance describes the maximum use of, or maximum of 50 lots on a collector road. So we have the 13 from Wildwood, the 35 we're proposing, and then these 2 lots that Brian developed out on Bakerstown Road. This lot and this lot were developed under Just Right, another Brian Merrill entity, but and developed as single-family, 80,000 square foot lots. But they're served by, their driveways are gonna be on this new road, so we're including that in the total of 50 lots allowed on a collector road. We are proposing 3 roads. Currently, this is being developed for access to these 2 lots, and it's currently called Just Right Way. We will be connecting into the existing Jessica Way, which ends in this traffic circle, or roundabout. There is a driveway access for these lots in Wildwood. We'll be constructing that road to collector standards and tying into Jessica Way, and this road will then be Jessica Way from beginning to end. We have 2 other side roads. This ending in a cul-de-sac serving 6 or 7 lots. and then another road ending in a cul-de-sac serving the other remaining lots. Each lot will be served by individual wells and individual subsurface wastewater disposal systems. Electrical power and communications will be extended. We're proposing overhead from Bakerstown Road. We're going to be using forested buffers and gravel wetlands to limit phosphorus export and control peak rates of runoff. We have 2 gravel wetlands, one proposed behind this, out here behind these lots, and one out behind this lot, which will collect most of the road network. We do have some level spreaders over in this area, one back here, and there is some portion of the Jessica Way extension that will be draining to the existing wet pond in Wildwood Phase 1. For permitting, we are going to require a site location permit with the DEP. We are impacting just over 5,000 square feet of wetlands, so we'll require an NRPA permit for that. And that also triggers the threshold for Army Corps review, so they'll be looking at this as well. And we'll also be looking to update our entrance permit with DOT to allow for the 35 lots. With that, I'll glad to open up to any questions.
I have a question, just with the collector road, where you're bringing it back around to Jessica Way, isn't that doesn't terminate onto Route 11 again there? Because you're showing a cul-de-sac there, and I guess
No,
I'm
I'm
confused
sorry,
with that.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not showing the whole picture. So Jessica Way currently has access on Bakerstown Road or Route 11 into 1, 2 roundabouts or circles. And this is where we're tying into, is this second circle. So
Okay.
when completed, there'll be access from Bakerstown Road here, all the way through to Bakerstown Road here.
That other one doesn't exist yet, or is it being?
This is partially, Brian, I don't know what the how much progress.
Nearly completed.
Nearly completed, so he's got an entrance permit for the, I think it's 3 to 5 lots. He's building 2 lots with that access. So that currently is proposed to end in a hammerhead, temporary hammerhead. So when this road is, if this road is approved and extended, that hammerhead will go away.
Is the width of that road sufficient for all this rebuilding? Because it wasn't, you designed that originally not to be for this many.
The design, what?
The width of this, the width of Jessica and the width of this, because Bakerstown Road was just redone.
Well, the plan to go all the way through has been in the works for 20 years, I think. When we did Wildwood, we had the yellow properties planned to be developed from the original piece. It took me a while to acquire the other property. But it was, they knew I was gonna try to do this, yes.
The right-of-ways for Jessica Way and the proposed right-of-way is 60 feet, which is the requirement.
Okay.
I believe the width of pavement for Collector Road in a cluster subdivision, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, is 20 feet, maybe it's 24, but there's, in a 60-foot right-of-way, there's certainly sufficient.
Right, what Heather's getting at is that second cul-de-sac as you come in off Route 11, that 4 houses share that's a driveway and it's not to the width, so
Right.
that's gonna was her question. Coming off that second cul-de-sac.
Oh, so,
that's
so
gonna have to be
there's
rebuilt.
this section of the road, I apologize, the rotation is a little bit different. But that's the cul-de-sac that we're talking about,
Mhm.
and we're extending the road from there all the way through. So this will be upgraded to the collector width.
So it doesn't need to be widened.
It does.
Okay.
It's currently a driveway. This is a driveway, up to this house and that house. I don't know if these don't have houses on them.
It's marked on the original plan as, it's a private driveway until I improve it to road with, to make it,
Right,
Go all the way
that's
through.
basically what she was saying, is you understand that that's gotta be up to collector road status all the way through.
yes.
Question about the vernal pools here, they're non-significant then?
There are two significant, yes, most of them are non-significant, but there are two significant ones. One is here, roughly, and then one is here. Well, actually, there's three. There's another one back here, but, and so we have a 250-foot
Setback.
non-disturbance buffer with a 25% allowance for disturbance. The radius of that is basically between this property line and this property line. It does extend over here, but we're basically to get the road in, we're taking that 25% of that vernal pool setback. This one similarly, it basically is between this property line and this property line. Does this road and a portion of this road does impact that, but it's much less than the 25%.
I think just for going forward while we're discussing this, that I'd like to see those as circles
Sure.
put on the site plan.
Yep.
I mean, it's the old adage, is not that I don't trust you, I don't trust
Yeah,
anybody, so.
No, understood that, yeah, the
Just-
subdivision plan will be much more developed than this
Yep.
plan with
Yeah,
all
this
that
is conceptual,
information.
yeah.
By widening the road though on the Jessica Way section, will that impact the lots that have existed there that have been built on?
We're not proposing to widen the road,
Well,
Will
You
that
have
dri-
to.
that
it's currently
section
a
there right
driveway,
there?
Brian, so what they're saying
Oh,
is
there.
this portion.
I bought the last two lots on the other side, but we have 60 feet.
There's a 60-foot
This
right
is a
of way.
60-foot right of way, it's just the road's not to the width
Right,
that it
no,
needs to be.
yeah, no, I understand that, but
The gravel driveway now.
it's a driveway, right, okay, but you still had the 60-foot right of way for the
Correct.
driveway, okay.
Yeah, the original, I looked at the original Wildwood plans, and they do show, the setup to meet that collector standards with a 6% maximum grade up through that portion of
That
the.
section, yeah. Okay. No, I know that's been your plan, right, for a long time, so.
Well, I don't know if it's been the plan or not, because I've heard everything from going back to North Raymond Road, back to here, so I mean, this is the current iteration of what it is. so.
Right, is what it is, right.
So I have an odd question. I know it's sort of spelled out in how the cluster subdivision works. So all the open space is gonna be taxed by the town and split by the HOA? Well, actually, Brian will be paying for it until 75% of, but the developer's gonna be paying for it until 75% of it gets sold, so I mean, how's that get
I don't know how
assessed?
they tax that. No idea.
I can tell you that the open space in Wildwood that is currently there,
Mhm.
there is no tax. The tax bill says 0.
I don't think they tax it, because they're basing it on those per lot, the density part,
The assessor tagged,
but I,
the assessor attached the amount to each individual lots, instead of having the HOA pay a tax bill.
A percentage of each lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean, because it's, somehow it's being split amongst,
well, it's based on a buildable lot in that zone, more than likely.
well, it doesn't matter, I mean, I've got wetland on my property and it's still getting
Right.
assessed as whatever.
Because they're using the density
Mhm.
to get smaller lots, I think, that they then, in turn, see that density as part of that lot. So instead of, 1 acre lots, they're gonna assess that as a 2 acre lot.
So they're gonna assess everything in the cluster as a 2 acre.
That's my assumption, but
Okay.
again, I don't know that part of it. I know it doesn't, I'm almost positive it doesn't get taxed. I think I've had that discussion before.
Yeah, I do remember that coming up before, and it was similar to what you're saying, Scott, that it was in the proportion in the taxes of all the.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that, it's not separate.
It's the same as Wedgewood.
Right.
Not that it adds to this conversation, but the density for this parcel is allowing 41 lots on the 80,000 square feet per lot, and we're only proposing 35 because of the collector restriction of 50 lots so served on a collector road.
Any questions, Scott, Sarah, any questions?
Well, I guess we've got to come to a consensus that the developer wishes to use the cluster subdivision provision, and reading through that, we have to give them, we have to say, yes, you can go this way, versus no, you have to go tradition. And it's on page 278, there's all sorts of conditions on it. But the ones in the past, we just have to do a consensus,
That's what we want.
which will lead them to go down that road, because that's what they're trying to propose.
While you look that up, I think there was a concern about locations though on the drawings. Sarah, Matthew. They're missing 2 buildings.
No, they got,
Okay.
no, you can, you,
Okay.
you can, the 2 at the beginning that you counted for, because
She's okay, we're okay.
So the other 2 roads coming off from what is gonna be Jessica Way, are those gonna be paved as well?
Yes, I think the cluster talks about number of lots, and I think both of these exceed the number of lots to not pave. So, yes, pavement all around.
So if you're gonna be calling this phase 2, for lack of a better phraseology, I guess, so every owner in the original Wildwood will have access to that open space?
Yes,
I just wanna get it into the record so that
yes.
these people.
They're all gonna have the same rules and regulations, same covenants, same bylaws. It's all gonna be Wildwood.
Have you considered anything regarding the utilities being underground?
Much prefer to keep it overhead, as we did in Wedgewood and Wildwood. There's ledge, and
So I guess conceptually on this, the first thing you're gonna do is actually bring Jessica's Way, that private driveway up to collector standard and go and connect back into Just Right, or whatever you're calling that entry is now. That's gonna be effectively the first part of phase 2.
Yes, yes.
And then at some point, it would be going and doing either one of those.
Yes, we had talked about that, and so, yes, so phase 2, after, phase 1 being the original Wildwood, phase 2 would be construct Jessica's Way, from the existing, circle back to tie into Just Right, rename it Jessica Way the whole length. Phase 3 would be, probably this smaller cul-de-sac, and then phase 4 would be constructing that cul-de-sac. And just for reference, we're calling this Beaver Tail Trail for our reference until it gets approved, and this is Stonewall Crossing.
Don't we have,
We have a stone wall somewhere in town.
and we think we have a beaver tail, a beaver or something.
So,
We'll have
yeah,
to
that'll have
check.
to be
Yeah.
vetted with 911, so.
If they ring bells, is familiar to maybe something else, so.
No concerns over
Would
cluster?
we take a consensus that Jim talked about first? Yeah, I mean, are we
No.
considering?
Hasn't been done.
No, it
yet.
hasn't been done yet, it's just.
No, I want to make sure there aren't any other further concerns on cluster.
Oh, no, at this point, no, nothing else I can think of.
Any question, Cheryl?
Well, I had a question. I'm just trying to remember the last time that you were here. We talked about bringing the road standard of Jessica's Way up to town standards, correct?
Yes.
Yes, the
Yeah, the paved portion of Jessica Way.
Correct. So would that still be part of this?
Yeah, I believe yes, we're looking at it, to see if it's feasible. And I think the questions are the grade coming in off of Bakerstown Road, and also there's a reverse curve, between these two, circles existing. So in order to bring that up to, collector standards, you have to improve the grade at Bakerstown Road, and also get rid of that reverse curve. So I guess the question to Scott or the town's engineer, can we correct that? I believe we can correct it in the right-of-way, but the right-of-way is not gonna be, the roadway, the corrected roadway is not gonna be in the center of the right-of-way. Is that gonna be an issue?
Your right of way is your right of way. You can put a road right up on the edge of your right of way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be centered.
So when we built Jessica Way, during construction, they redid Route 11, and they raised it up. 'Cause we had built it, we had already paved our road, and then they built it up, and that's why it didn't pass that. It's a minor, the as-built engineer from Santac said it was very, very slight. The reverse curve is something that should have got wavered, or still could be wavered, as far as that goes. It's,
Are you gonna try to
it's
make
slight,
this a town?
it's a slight problem.
This gonna be a town road,
Well, that's what they had talked about
or is it
the
gonna be
last time
private
they
still?
were here.
I'm sorry, what?
Is it gonna be a town road or is it gonna be private still?
Well, they were, when we did that, it was in the bylaws and covenants that I would offer it to the town.
But are you proposing to offer the rest of this to the town when it's finished?
I'm sorry, Scott, what you
Are you
saying?
proposing to bring Jessica Way to the town? The full Jessica's Way when it's completed?
Well, that's a good question. I think it might be required to ask the town to take over the road in any cluster subdivision.
So
Town doesn't have to take it over.
there couldn't be a waiver then, if the town.
We can't waive something
Right.
for town standards, no.
Right, so there can't be a waiver in the reverse curve if,
Well, the other option was we were gonna look at it to see if it's possible to straighten that reverse curve out within the right of way. And we would definitely not impact any property lines. Nobody's house lot would be changed or anything like that.
I mean, once again, it's just gonna be a matter of drawing it out and making sure it's gonna meet the standard, plus get by our third-party reviewer as well, you know, I mean, so, I don't think there's anything that we need to super worry about that right now on.
We're just trying to decide if we can come to consensus on the cluster development.
Mhm.
Any other comments on that?
Well, I think, I mean, to me, you're saying you want to, as far as making a consensus on, do we prefer a cluster?
Yes.
No, I think it makes sense to do it, cluster, I recommend that.
Cheryl, thoughts?
Cheryl?
Dan? Sarah?
No, I'm fine, it's, I mean, if Wildwood was traditional, I'd say you'd you'd stay with that, but, I mean, this was the original was a cluster, and it does leave a lot of open space for potential outdoor recreation and so
Mhm.
forth.
I think we have a lot of people who'd like to speak. I think I'm gonna open the floor
Well,
list.
let's go through the checklist first and get that,
Okay.
and then we'll open up, because we're not even at.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah. I think we talked through the advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And you have the other things on file, A and B? Just nodding. All right, so I think we're gonna need a motion for the checklist then as complete.
I can make a motion that the checklist for sketch plan application, Bakerstown Road, Autumn Inc., map 13, lots 9A, 10, 16, 14, 16, and 14A, 16 and 15, and 34A is complete.
Second,
I'll second that.
vote. Good. Now you okay for opening the floor? Good, all right. Okay, I assume a lot of people here are.
I have a question. What is the reverse curve?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when the standards for the road are, if you have a curve to the left, you need some sort of straight tangent distance, typically on this size road, at least 100 feet before you curve to the right. And so in this case, the road curves to the right or left and then immediately curves to the other direction without having that minimum straight tangent.
So right after our mailboxes and right after,
Right,
left
goes
after.
kinda
it goes
So like an S curve?
by-
Yes.
by where I-
So, and that's part of the issue with having this turned over to being a town road?
Yeah, that's probably the primary issue, yes.
I have a question. Us, come from, we're Wildwood homeowners. This is probably the 5th time we've come to one of these for Brian trying to connect to us in various ways. And it seems like every time the end result is that he has to bring paved Jessica Way up to code before he can progress. And every time it comes around, it seems like that's not gonna happen. And like, it seems pretty clear that Brian is not saying that he's gonna bring it back to the town as a public road. And it's getting really frustrating for us to like have to keep doing this over and over. So it would just be really great if we as homeowners could know that we're not gonna get, 40 more houses on a road that needs a lot of work to get up to code. And that we're all gonna have to take that cost if he just builds the houses, sells them, and then ditches, like he did with us. Because there's a lot of people in our HOA that have a lot of issues, with drainage, with road conditions, with, a lot of stuff, which I think we brought up at multiple meetings. And I think we're all kind of frustrated, like these two people live on the not paved portion of Jessica Way that they're talking about extending. It's in horrible condition. Ryan never really brought it up to where it should have been when he finished our section. So I think we're all just at the point where we're like, when is it ever gonna, I understand Brian wants to build houses. I get that. We're not against him building houses. We're not against being connected to. But I think we would all like some reassurance that at least the portion of Jessica Way that he already built, and whether he thinks so or not, when he built that, I'm pretty sure he knew it wasn't a code, at least the curved part.
I'm gonna have to stop you there. I
Brian,
did not-
Wait.
Let me speak.
Yeah, let her finish, please.
Because it was immediately an issue. Like the first meeting we had, I've lived there for 11 years, and I think we had a meeting very shortly after that for him to want to attach to that, and it was already an issue, like, immediately. And he said the same thing about a waiver, and the same thing was said, you can't have a waiver. So it's really frustrating. So I think we'd all just like some assurance that he's not gonna come and build, however many more houses, but leave the paved portion so it can never be taken over by the town. Cause that's gonna be, that's a huge, even with 35 more houses, like, we're just a small thing. I'm the treasurer, I do the billing, we're all like internal. So to take on that many more, take on all that stuff, with a road that's never gonna be taken over by the town,
And all these cars are gonna be driving.
and all these
on.
cars and construction vehicles, cause he's
So-
saying that's just hard for us, I think.
So let me just to clarify, your concern is whether or not it's gonna be determined before he starts building, or do you want
Well,
it to
'cause
be
the
a
last-
town road?
The last meeting we had, you guys made it pretty clear that he could not build any more houses off of Jessica Way until he brought Jessica Way up to code.
Mhm.
And is that still a thing? Because last
Yes.
time,
Yes.
okay, you have it in writing. Great, okay, that's all I wanna know, because I'm hearing a
Okay,
lot of
okay.
maybe, and if we can do it, and that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of half-truths in here,
Okay,
okay? It says, to allow common drives to serve 4 lots, blah, blah, blah. And the waivers and accepted, the application is complete, with the 3 waivers being granted. So they were granted. But, secondly, during the meetings between November 22nd and December 27th, the board was concerned about the road not being built to required standards for future development on remaining land and lots. The board's consensus is the roads may be built to the standards on the plan today for the current 13 lots. However, when additional lots are proposed, the roads serving those lots must be improved to meet our code under the cluster subdivision.
okay.
And this is May 11th, 2012. So it shows you how long I've been on the board.
I know you have.
So, yes, they will have to be brought up to standard.
Okay, that's great, good to hear. My other issue is, we have a lot of drainage issues in Wildwood, like a lot. So my concern is, there's a lot of wetland, I think that it's not on that map, particularly in the corner, that sharp corner off of, I'm just gonna get to the point. In this area, there's a lot of water right there. So I just wanna make sure that that's being accounted for as someone who goes out in the woods in the spring and digs trenches, because there's no drainage. Cause all that right now just runs into people's yards and down the sides of
It's all
the road.
open space and
So I know he has to do a lot with drainage when he gets to that point, but I just wanna also put that on the record that there's a lot of water that's not dealt with well. Thank you.
And jump off that, I just wanted to clarify, because it sounded like you were saying the runoff from the new project is coming down into that water reservoir, did I understand that correctly?
Well, not,
Just the road.
not, mostly just the
Or the
road.
fire pond, I should say, or wherever that's landing.
It'll have to come in,
Yeah.
there's nowhere else for it to go.
Yeah, so this is quite a hill coming up from, great, no power.
It won't show
That's
on
quite
the
a,
screen.
quite a hill
No.
coming up from the circle up,
Yeah, we live that's where we live, we know.
so yeah, we're collecting most of the water, but probably from about here, on the new portion of Jessica Way, that will be directed down towards the current fire pond. Roadside ditches, that should improve, putting in roadside ditches on the new section should improve at least that immediate area. This open space, I can't say that it's gonna do anything for that, that's down gradient of what we're doing. It may limit some of the water that's getting there, but I can't say that it's gonna improve that at all.
I just wanted to just thank Brooke for bringing up just the road again, and Cheryl, you spoke to that too, because I was at the last meeting, and it does feel like there's some resistance there every time it gets brought up, so I do think it's gotta be proper, or else, what do I do, you know? It's just, it has to be correct, and that's kind of what we were told when we bought our property, is that was the ultimate goal, was to connect the roads, and that it would be, that's how it was sold to us when we bought our home, which we love, 7 years ago, so I think that needs to be clear.
I would've got going quite a while ago, but I got ill 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and, it took me a few years to recover from that.
So to the point of the drainage, which you were just talking about, so putting in drainage on the sides of the road, which will drain into that fire pond, and you said that it may not improve it, but is not going to make it worse either.
So we're
I guess
required
that's what I
to,
want to be sure of.
yeah, we're required to restrict, peak rates of runoff to what they are today. And so we modeled, the stormwater report, which Jim Seymour will review, will show that our contributing runoff doesn't exceed what's there today. And we control that by, with these roadside ditches to collect the runoff from the road. The fire pond, would serve as the detention area to limit the off-site, discharge. So we're not gonna make the condition any worse than it is.
Can I ask another quick question about drainage? So that speaks to the immediate ditches off of Jessica. How about the upper HOA, the one that kind of goes, has a weird curve? What are you gonna do for drainage off of that? Where is that gonna drain?
Similar,
It won't show on the screen. That's
Point.
why it works, it just doesn't show on the screen.
oh, that's why, I'm sorry. I was like, no, my battery's
Nope,
dead.
okay.
So, this is basically the top of the hill, this circle.
Yeah, and I know where it is.
And
I'm just wondering
so-
where that's all gonna go.
most of the runoff from that road will go in roadside ditches and be collected, and there's a stormwater feature back here. There is a portion of the road that is sheeting off through these lots. We're controlling that with forested buffers and some level spreaders in some cases. And that water is sheeting off into the open space and existing wetlands.
It's just hard to tell because you don't have any of the already developed HOA there, so I'm
Yeah,
just
so-
trying to visualize
So
because.
these are the lots off the end of Jessica Way, and then Whispering Pine is
Yeah, I
here.
mean, my concern is for Whispering Pine, because based on that, it doesn't look like there's gonna be any control from the drainage from that upper area, except for it to go into Whispering Pine in their back lots, because that's gonna be uphill from that, right?
So let me just ask a question to help you.
Yeah.
So my understanding, Scott, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, is they have to bring the road up to standard to be able to put this many houses in there. And they can't add more water contribution based on building this, right? So if that's not happening, then they're not gonna be able to proceed with building.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-check,
Mhm.
yes. So I completely understand, I am not a fan of water
I
myself.
love water, I just don't
No,
want my
in my
entire
house.
yard to be water.
I can understand your concern, but you asked about the road bringing up to standard, and what they're saying is they're not gonna add more water in places that they cannot, because otherwise he can't proceed to build.
Okay.
So that's your way of looking forward to, okay, if there- these houses show up, are we gonna have this big deluge coming down here? No, they can't build them.
Okay, thank you.
Is Brian committing to repair the road though, with him connecting to Jessica Way to, I guess it's, I'm not sure the other name you have, Just Right? That hill that these folks are saying is a problem, is that going to, in your plan to correct that or at least improve that? Because it sounds like there's some issues there, whereas, I'm not
Where they
sure.
live now,
Yes, where they live now.
absolutely. From the beginning, back in 2011, we had figured we were gonna extend the road through the Hancock land.
Right.
And we actually had engineering done, so we're ready to go with a much better road and drainage system in front of these people's houses.
Right. So, just so they know too, that's part of your plan is to
Oh,
correct
absolutely.
that, so that they won't be back here again wanting to know why that wasn't done. That's why I'm saying, I just don't wanna, if we have it on record now, that you're saying that will be done, then we are taking your word for it, and they are, so it's,
Yep.
we're,
I don't think it's a matter of, it will be done, it
Has
will
to be.
have to be
It
done,
has to
because
be
the
done.
third-party
Exactly.
engineer, Scott will not issue building permits or anything if
Right.
that's not built to the as-built standards and approved standards, so.
Okay, were there other comments, and it would be good if you state your name when you do that.
Oh,
I know
sorry.
there's a lot of
It's
energy and I didn't
Brooke
wanna
Day.
take away the power there, so,
And
Any
I'm
other
Chris
comments?
Foss, Chris Foss,
Yep.
51 Jessica Way.
thank you,
Jeff Foss.
thank you,
Oh, it's Brooke Day, 7 Tamarack Way.
thank you, appreciate that. Anybody else would like to make a comment on this before we close on this item?
I have a question.
Your name,
Megan
please?
Hall, I live on Bakerstown Road.
Okay.
What is the average size of these lots? Are they like half acre?
With the cluster, it's a maximum of 1 acre lot, and there's no minimum, but there's a practical minimum of 20,000 square feet, but I think the minimum is like 35,000 that we're proposing.
I'm
Which
just
is-
concerned because that's a lot of septic tanks in a small, or septic fields, and with all these wetlands. Are there rules about proximity to wetlands with
There's-
amount of septic?
Yeah, you have to
Yes.
have passing soils to support a septic system. You also have to have, because there's wells, you have to have minimum separation between the wells and any of the septic systems. So there's no really, to answer your question, there's no real setback from the wetlands, it's just that you have to have passing soil, so
Gotcha.
it kind of pushes you away from the wetlands. The wetlands on this site, you can see that this is the wetland line. We're well away from those wetlands. Our only impacts are on these, there was some impact here for the road, and there's some impact here for the road here. Other than that, there's no other wetland impacts, and all the lots have that buildable area that satisfies the 20,000 square foot minimum area per lot.
Okay, last call?
I just have a question, like the average size of the home that you're planning to build? Are they all gonna be pretty much the same range, or?
Well, they'll be between, well, I believe it's in the bylaws, they have to be at least 1,400 square feet. And I guess it could be no limit how big a house could be, but that'd be according to each lot. But typically, my house is, my wife and I are very proud of the houses we build. We build energy efficient houses. I sleep very good at night knowing that in my houses that I build a super insulated. So typically, right now, the houses I've been building about 1,700 square feet with attached garage. Trying to stay away from two-story colonials, big houses. They're not that much fun to build anymore.
Final comments? I don't think we have anything else on this topic that we have to do this evening, correct? We did the checklist already.
And you've done the consensus,
Consensus.
so I think that's, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank
So
you.
we just table it?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
No, it was the sketch plans.
We did the
Just
sketch
sketch
plan,
plan,
yeah.
okay.
so.
Were there any other comments that, or concerns that we need to address before we come back for a preliminary?
Have any? Scott, Sarah?
Well, just other than, there's gonna be a ton of engineering work on this, as you know. And we're gonna probably rely heavily on our third-party engineer on that. I mean, not a wetlands guy, I'm not a water guy. So, other than, obviously, you'll have a more detailed plan, hypothetically, where your septics are going, where your wells are going, all that on your next plot
Yeah,
plan.
yes, we have a well exclusion, or I call it a well inclusion and a septic inclusion plan, so it shows those areas that would be suitable for those services. And I think Brian's already got somebody doing test pits for those to show that the soils are passing in those areas.
And we'll get something from a well driller.
If need be, yes.
Well, it need be. It's a subdivision, you have to have, provided you can have adequate water supplies at each lot. So, whatever, note, letter, we always get it from a well driller, then, you know, depending who you wanna use.
Good, thank you.
I just have a quick question. Is it possible to get like a picture, a photocopy or a picture of this anywhere, just so I can show it to the rest of the HOA? Could I come into the town and get a copy of that?
It's on the website.
How
You
do I
can-
Is that one on the website, Sarah?
never
Because
find
we,
them? So I don't know
that
where to
colored
go.
one, is that on?
No, I
the
just
colored
got this
one-
today.
Yeah, because that would be, if you wanna snap a picture of that with your phone before
Okay.
you leave, 'cause
Okay.
that
I
one,
tried to
that
find
one's a
stuff on
lot
the site,
easier
couldn't
to,
find it, so.
I can send,
Do
do you want the,
I can take a picture of it, that's fine.
you want
She
the,
can have
you want the
mine.
Yeah,
development
that one would be
plan?
better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can send a copy of this to the town if it,
Yeah, that would
the
be
color.
You can
Yeah,
have
that'd
my
be great.
copies, Brooke, if you want them.
I'd be
Oh,
no,
that'd
happy,
be
they're not
lovely.
colored, Cheryl.
I'd be happy to send
They're
them
not
to
these
you.
ones.
Either.
Oh, they're not those ones? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
they're not colored, but
I'll just take a picture, that'll be fine.
Well, they'd probably rather have a digital one.
I
I'd be
can just
happy,
take a picture, I just wanna show it to
Give me the
everybody
other
else, 'cause obviously not all of us would come today, so.
right, you
there's gonna be a
will,
lot of the different plans drawn.
Yeah, they just wanna know kinda what's going on, so.
when they
It's
come back
still preliminary,
with
but yeah,
the
that's-
preliminary
Mhm.
of the
That's
cluster and all the
We'll give
more
them an idea,
information,
right.
you will get another about a notification. So you know what's going on, and the packet information is on the website, you can come to meeting, all those pieces, so
Okay, Thank
you will
you,
get it again.
thank you.
What is the process? So this is, a preliminary meeting is next, and then what happens after that?
I've actually never been through an actual subdivision this large, but my understanding is preliminary, and then you get to, there's 2 steps after that, I believe.
Yes.
And each step requires more and different information, and you will get notified for each of those steps, so. I've only read about it in the book, so.
We'll live it together.
I know some of these folks here have gone through it, so I'm sure they can tell you in more detail those pieces, but, you will be notified for those parts.
I have just maybe you don't know the answer to this. So we have to go to DEP for a site location permit, which is a lengthy process. Does the town of Poland grant conditional approval, or do we have have to have permit in hand to get final.
Well, you can get a final approval, but you won't be able to pull permits.
Right.
I mean, we can conditionally approve something while you're waiting, yeah, we're not gonna slow track something and say, you know, you can go two
Sure, okay.
parallel tracks, but, you know, you just won't be able to get anything out of the code office.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Okay, really last call now. Anything else? Good discussion though. All right, thank you for those of you that came in to comment, appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, we're gonna move on to comprehensive land use code changes for 2026.
Yeah.
And I know that there's one coming in for carports, shelters on non-shoreland
Yes.
areas, right?
That's the only thing we have this year from us, is outside of the shoreline zone.
You live in there?
Our thought is that we will not require a
Oh,
permit, you'll have to
I
make
think I-
setbacks, but not require a permit.
I'm sorry, could you guys-
Father used to
Talk
live there,
outside,
like
please.
10
Can you
years
guys
ago.
talk outside, Brian?
Okay.
Father-in-law.
Brian,
Father-
can you guys talk outside? We're picking you up on the mic.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My father lived on the other side.
Outside of the shoreline zone, inside the shoreline zone, you would need a permit, but outside of it, you wouldn't, you just have to make setbacks for those temporary, those fabric car shelters, I shouldn't call it temporary, we don't distinguish, but, because we have the zoning of them, and not everybody gets a permit, and it's not worth chasing down.
So what happens if they're not within the setback? What are you gonna do?
Then
Violations?
potentially, but usually you'll get to that, and if it's that, they can usually just move it over.
Right, but I mean, it's not, we're not gonna just let people put them anywhere. We're gonna
No,
require
they,
that they have it
yeah,
within the setbacks.
and they'll call us and we'll tell them, and we'll tell them what their setbacks are and how to do it. That's our proposal.
Do you really think they're gonna call you and ask?
We get a lot of questions
You do?
about, do I need a permit for a roof, for windows, for things like that? Yeah, people,
No.
the people who are going to ask will ask. People who don't, they won't.
They
That's
will
why I'm
do it
bringing it
anyway.
up, because it's a problem that I can't, there's no way I can chase this down.
Well, a lot of people, I think in town don't realize that there's no such thing as a temporary shelter for Poland.
They don't
Everything is
understand that there
considered-
isn't any such thing as a temporary anything.
Right, right. There's, so.
So that's R1, and then obviously we're gonna need to suss that out and, you know, where and what qualifies as that and those pieces, but that's just our current iteration of an idea, so. And I know that at the last meeting, there was discussion about clarifying the language for reducing the setback from 30 to 20 to allow it for that type of situation that we had last time, so. Other than that, there was nothing else that you guys came up with this year and looked at me and said, write that down. So, if there was, I missed it, and I apologize,
I'm
but
just trying
I
to think
don't
off the top
think
of my
there
head
was.
anything that comes to mind, but yeah, it's,
So I do have Sebago coming in to look at that other one on Thursday.
This is from the last meeting.
Yep.
Yeah. So, are there any issues from the board about the car shelter one and not requiring a permit? Like, I just don't wanna do this and then get down the road and you're like, no, we really hate this. So,
As long as it's worded in such a way that you have to comply with the setbacks,
Oh, yeah.
otherwise you will be receiving a violation, so.
absolutely. And
No, I
everything
still know
is
that doesn't prevent everything, but I think it should be like, you know,
Yeah.
if you don't wanna pull a permit, if we're not gonna make them pull a permit, you've gotta conform to these rules or we're gonna come and tell you to do it.
And the person that's gonna complain about it is the neighbor.
Right,
Right,
That's how you're gonna,
right,
Right,
but
that's
that,
how
I
you
don't
would
wanna, the question to you, Scott, is like, you know, if they don't pull the permit, then somebody calls and complains, then it's work for you on that flip side, but it may be less work, provided we're very clear that you have to do it.
Well, we're pretty clear now, but no one's doing it. I have made, you know, if someone, I think I had someone that wanted a garage, when I got there, they had a, you know, 30-foot by 50-foot carport shelter sitting halfway on their property, halfway on the other property. I made them move that one to get a permit. But the ones that are popping up on everywhere, it's hard to keep up with those.
Right, but I think if we try, you know, half of them do it right because we try and be very clear about the language and we have the reciprocation of a violation.
Right.
At least half of them are doing
Right.
it better.
Yeah, that'll obviously apply to all of it. If you don't meet it, then someone's gonna call us and tell us.
And then we're gonna do something about it.
Yes.
Yes, then I'm okay with that one.
Yeah.
Setback one, because that was from last meeting, I wasn't here.
Right.
Any comments?
Yeah, it's just how it was worded. I mean, it just seems stupid that if you, I mean, we got around it by saying it was located in the best practical extent away from the resource, therefore we can decrease the side setback, but it seems to me that,
Do we wanna say that? That in order to get that 20 foot, you have to look at that?
yeah, because I mean, it just seems asinine to me that if you have a structure that you can't move back and you wanna add on to it, but you're too close to the resource, you can't go forward, you can't go to the side because you got a parking lot. You can't go back because you got a hill. The only place you can go is this one side here, and if we can't give them a way to fit something, you know, an allowed non-conforming structure to expand to our percentages here by allowing them to go within the, you know, down to a 20-foot setback instead of a 30.
So we could require that every one of those gets reviewed for greatest practical extent,
Yeah, however,
whether they're proposing to do it or not.
but I just think it's one of those things you should be able to add on. I mean, if something can be moved back, I understand.
That this case did not have.
This
any place
was a
to go.
steep driveway and parking lot.
Mhm.
Behind the house, steep, I think there were even, I don't remember if there were boulders there or not, but,
Yeah, they go a couple boulders, there is a couple boulders behind it.
yeah, and then the only place that they could expand was to the side, you know?
Do you want to propose some language there, we could review it next meeting?
We're actually going to have, Sue Sebago do the language on that so that we aren't mucking it up
Okay.
and we can fit it in.
I checked to make sure it wasn't part of chapter 1000, so we weren't messing with that, but it seems to be added from chapter 1000.
Okay.
I didn't find it in there anywhere.
Is there anything else that anybody, like I put it out there so that people could think about it, and if there was something, because I'd like us to have it and get it, and so we can have thoughtful conversations about it and not be last minute and just
I
get
mean,
it
I
out there.
think we're too far down the road. But we brought this up a long time ago, George, you might remember this, but I don't know if it ever went to a vote and it got voted down or whatever, but it seems to me that if you propose a traditional subdivision like this, you should be bound in your cluster to only be able to do the same amount of lots. Because what they're doing is you're taking your upland area, you're taking the lot area minus the wetland, minus the road, dividing it by, in this case, 80,000 square feet, right? So that gives you whatever they had in here for lots, whatever it was. But if you look at these, half of these lots you couldn't sell as a traditional lot. There's way too much wetland on that.
Right.
So you're giving the developer a bonus in the sense of, this one maybe not as much so, but look at how much or how less road frontage that they have to build in that cluster versus this traditional. So you're giving them a bonus of not having to construct as much road, and you're giving them the amount of lots that can be built based on square footage, not site layout. So they're getting a double bonus. And I know we discussed this, and I don't know if we took it to town meeting and it got voted down, or do you remember? Because you read the cluster in here, it says basically, take the lot, minus wetland, minus roads, divide it, and that's how many houses you can build. But if you look at a traditional, there's no way they could build this many
Right.
lots in there.
Right. Well, I mean, the other thing too, and I guess at this point, my concern is too, why we're even asking them to propose a traditional, because that's not what they're wanting to do, and it's not something that, it does take up more of land to do the traditional. Correct? I mean, there's a lot more land involved.
Well, no, I mean, it's
the use of the land.
it's-
Well, the use,
different.
but I'm just saying, it's still gonna be, you're gonna have more houses in a traditional, right?
No, because what I'm saying is,
He said there was 40 something in that, I thought.
no,
Yeah, I thought he said 40,
What-
45.
he's got
maybe
14 and
35.
it goes up to
Moving down
50,
after that to 30 something.
51.
Where are you headed with this? Is there a proposal for a change?
Well, I think we're too far down the road to actually just spring this along, but I thought we tried
That's
to do this
35.
before, but,
He's proposing 35 there then too, if that's,
Right,
no, he's proposing, it goes up to 51 from 14, or from 13, so that would be what, 38?
What's the change?
Well, the change would be is if you did a layout like this, right?
Mhm.
You've got some vernal pools down here, so you couldn't build on any of these lots
Okay,
because of the, probably you couldn't. This is 3.18 acre lot. If you subtract out the wetland, you're down to under an acre, and that wouldn't be a conforming lot, so you couldn't create that lot. I'm just saying that this case is not proving my point, but if you could do, I mean, because he could put more houses in here, he's just not doing so because it would change what this road would have to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
he
you
would
wanna
have to make
base
that
that-
24 feet.
do you wanna base that density on the upland that you could approve as the planning board?
Of the upland of, no, yeah, I mean, of what, how many lots you could site in a traditional layout that are actually buildable, because like you, I mean,
That would restrict the cluster?
no, it would restrict the amount of houses you can do, because if he could do, like, he could do more houses in here, he's just not, because it's gonna trigger other things that he'd have to do.
Right.
But if he was gonna do that, you couldn't do it here, because these, it would subtract like 5 or 6 lots out.
I still don't, I'm sorry, I still don't know what the change, like, what would we write the code to say? Would we be changing traditional, or are you talking about?
No, you do a
cluster?
traditional layout,
Yes,
and you create lots.
okay,
Scott could not give a permit to build on this, because it doesn't have enough upland.
okay.
So that lot wouldn't exist, this lot wouldn't exist, that
Yep,
lot wouldn't
yes,
exist.
Yes, yes,
So if this was 38 houses,
Mhm.
and 7 of these lots aren't buildable,
yes.
then it'll go down to 31.
Yeah.
So then the cluster should be limited to 31.
Yeah, so the cluster should be this.
Correct, then that
Yes,
would be.
that's what I'm
that-
saying, you start with traditional,
Correct,
whatever the traditional allowed, the cluster can't exceed.
yes.
When he came in though, didn't he say he wanted either traditional or cluster, and we decided on the traditional?
no. Last
No,
time
we
he
didn't.
actually was going towards traditional, because he didn't want to, he wanted them to deal with the wetlands and have that piece of it. He didn't want
Oh,
to,
okay.
and he wasn't touching he wasn't calling it part of Wildwood. And B, he wasn't touching the remaining land of there was an iteration where he did, but there was a second iteration, which was, I believe, the last one where he didn't. It
Okay.
gets confusing, but
Right,
there's,
but I understand what you're trying to say is you can't skirt density by going from, like, look at traditional, I can do more in a cluster, but traditional would have never worked.
So do
Correct.
you wanna base the density, in this case, there's a crap load of wetland.
What's that?
There's a crap load of wetland in the numbers that he's using. Do you wanna base that density not on the actual size of the lot, but on the size of the buildable lot?
Yes.
Okay. So, because you could approve 25% of those wetlands to be upland.
Right, but I
So
mean,
they'd automatically have to adjust for that 25%
right, on each individual lot.
on each individual lot.
Right, and some of these, with the soil disturbance, within the vernal pool stuff like you're talking about, and just the wetland, I mean, it just is one of those things, because that's the way one of my parcels got split up, and the code was different back then, so I don't know if it went from that
Well,
to
wasn't
this.
the incentive though for clusters, when they first started those, I mean, in the early 2000s, they started that, and the incentive was, you were using less land for the same number of homes to give more natural land, like not farm and forest, but more natural land in town, and not having it all house lots. And I think that was the incentive why they were giving, and I think the state came up with this idea that it was, you're developing less amount of land and getting the same number of lots out of it, or.
But the thing is, you're getting more lots out of, hypothetically, you're getting
In
more
this
lots.
case, because in that
Because, so
case,
for the developer, you got a twofer. You do build less road, which saves you a lot of money,
Mhm.
and potentially it allows you on really wet pieces like this to site smaller houses, so, and get more than you could in a traditional, so you get a double bonus.
so do
Well,
you, want-
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, that's the question.
Well, no, you do, but I think that they were, if I remember right, the incentive was to try to have less land disturbed was the entire, incentive of that cluster subdivision idea when it came through the,
That's what it says in here.
yeah.
It actually says it in here.
Yeah.
Right, and so that was really the whole purpose of it, so if it's, it works out different this time, but maybe it works out, sometimes it may work out that all that land would have been, could have been a traditional, and you could have had 45, and he's only
Right.
proposing 35, or something like that.
I think this is somewhat unique, but I hear what you're saying.
What I'm saying to you is, if there was not that amount of wetland in there, there would be a hell of a lot more houses going in there. That's the limiting factor on this piece, for sure.
The limiting factor was the 50, but.
Well, yeah, the limiting factor is the 50,
Other things to bump into. Do you want to pursue this for this year?
no,
Okay.
but I think it's something that needs to
Can
be.
we add it to our list, please, to have a discussion when we have some more time about maybe
Yes.
doing some, like
Because
ruling
I-
that we don't have these gamemanship potential situations.
Right, because we're getting to the point now that we're not as bad as Southern Maine, but it's the best worst land is being developed. And you're gonna have more cases of things like this going forward.
I think it's very timely to bring up.
So-
That's why I was just saying, if we
Yeah.
want to pursue it right now, we're gonna have to
No,
really dig in. If
no,
we
no,
can
no,
do
it's-
another year, I think we can do some research.
No, I think it would be important to have, yeah, I don't like to be behind the eight ball, stuff like that, but it's just, I know we talked about it before, I just couldn't remember if we flip-flopped from the way it was.
Do we
To
really wanna
this,
go
or we-
another year though, when we've got developers that are, I mean, that's,
Well, but in my 8 years of being here, this is the first time
That's the
we've
first.
had a major subdivision. So
yeah,
if
but I don't
we,
think it's gonna be the last one.
no, but if we, my perspective is if we give it a year and we have a chance to talk about it and iron it out and have third party look at it and say what works not only for us, but what, do you know what I mean? Pull some language in, and then we go over it and we've really got it nailed down to what works for us. That gives us time to do that. We do have time to do that, but we don't have a lot of time to do that. That's just how life is working right now. And especially because we will not be having a December 23rd meeting. So because 4 people can't make it that day, so we won't meet again till January 13th. So,
You okay if we wait a year, or you wanna try and move faster? I feel like I'm just
I know a
gonna,
year isn't a long time, but a lot can happen in a year.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, is there anything pending that you're seeing coming through that's a large subdivision at this
The only
point?
other ones we've seen, which this would be a perfect example of, is the one on the corner at Empire and Plains. That was, they were placing house lots in between wetlands.
Right.
We had the one on Flint Drive. I don't think there was a lot of wetlands involved with that one.
No, cause that was all tucked
Down
way
here.
down in the corner. Damn it, I just remember something we're gonna put on the CLUC and I just lost it. Keep talking, I'll break it.
Okay. I mean, it will be a scramble. My concern about scrambling is we may make some decisions that are not great, and it will be hard to put that in writing and then get a vote.
Mhm.
I completely respect that, things seem to be speeding. I drove down a road, I'm like, when the heck did those two houses show up? Like, I think I was just here like a minute ago. So I respect that, like, building is coming, so.
I mean, it's not something we're gonna push off on starting on our piece, but I think we need the time to get it right. Because I wanna make sure we're understanding what it is you guys want, and you guys are able to iron out what exactly it is you want.
Yeah.
And that takes reading it and looking at it and going back and forth about it. So,
I would
Slow down to
prefer
speed up.
slow down to speed up, unless anybody's really objecting. George?
I'm fine waiting.
Definitely wanna pursue it, so
Yeah.
we'll see if we can find some examples and. Did you remember?
No, I haven't yet, you guys keep.
Well, I think
I'm
the,
stalling.
you know, the other thing too, as far as the housing crunch, you know, the ADUs have made I think that's taken some of the pressure off it, because people have been able to accommodate family and so on like that, with, you know, housing, without having to, you know, go out and build another house, or find another lot to develop, or whatever, so.
It's not a hotbed.
No,
right now.
no, it isn't, so we can see that, because we're not getting
A
anything
handful
either.
over last year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make it a priority though for
Yep.
good discussion over time.
Yep.
Last call for your last idea, no?
But
We're still signing stuff, right?
Well, and
Okay.
maybe the other thing though too, Heather, is, you know, instead of waiting until the end of the year, maybe halfway through the year, if we have some things.
That's
Well,
what I'm
I'll-
saying,
I'll talk to-
Yeah,
let's
I'll
start
talk
now.
to Sebago about it when I
Yeah.
talk to them on Thursday.
Okay,
yeah,
let's do it.
we're not waiting, we're gonna start
Okay.
on our
Yeah.
side
Right.
and then,
By this time next year, we'll have a,
yeah,
you know, something to read and be
Okay.
like, yes,
Yeah.
we definitely wanna bring that forward. Cause
Yeah.
the more we do this earlier, then we don't have that scramble, cause then
Right.
we have to have the meeting and et cetera,
Right.
so.
absolutely.
Okay, maybe we put something in a lightly loaded fall meeting earlier.
Yeah.
And I will try and help remind myself of that, okay? Okay, I think we're open now for any other business.
No, my brain's not working, so.
I'm still rolling. I do not have anything else except for, I wanted to ask you about the December meeting and it appears
It-
will
we-
not happen.
4 people have said that they cannot make that meeting, which is understandable. So we will have a January 13th meeting. Not only because we've had an applicant come in, but I've gotta figure out when we're doing
Yes.
stuff.
Okay.
So, we will
And,
definitely
and
have,
to give you a heads up, I will not be here for that one either,
okay,
so
I won't
I'll be gone.
alright.
Oh, that's good. That, we'll excuse that. She won't be long. All right, any other business, George?
I'm all set.
Cheryl, anything else?
No.
Scott?
No, I'm good.
Sarah?
I did it.
Okay, well then I think we need a motion to.
Motion to adjourn?
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Everybody good to go? Thank you. Good night, everyone. Have a nice start to the new year.
Um,